If you've been feeling unsettled by what's been surfacing in the world lately, this message is for you. Not because it's political, not because it's controversial, but because spiritually sensitive people can feel when something is shifting. When hidden things begin to surface, it creates a disturbance in the atmosphere. And if you're not anchored, that disturbance can pull you into fear, outrage, or hopelessness. But God does not want you reacting emotionally to every exposure. He wants you responding spiritually. The Bible is very clear that nothing hidden stays hidden forever. Luke 8:17 says, "For nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, nor concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." Exposure should not shock believers. It should confirm Scripture. When secrets surface, when corruption is revealed, when systems are questioned, it does not mean darkness is suddenly growing stronger. Often it means light has entered places it wasn't allowed before. You don't see dust in the room until sunlight hits it. The dust was always there. The light simply made it visible. What destabilizes people is not just the exposure itself, but the illusion collapsing. For years, many assumed certain structures were untouchable. Many believed certain names were protected. Many thought some systems were too powerful to ever be questioned. But when illusions break, it feels chaotic. And humans prefer stable illusions over uncomfortable truth. Yet spiritually, truth is always better than false stability. God does not build on deception. He allows shaking so that what is real can remain. Hebrews tells us that everything that can be shaken will be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. If you are seeing institutions shaken, narratives questioned, and hidden dealings revealed, do not immediately interpret it as the world falling apart. Sometimes it is exposure before cleansing. Sometimes it is revelation before restoration. Before healing, infection must be uncovered. Before rebuilding, corruption must be exposed. And this process is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. However, this is where believers must guard their hearts carefully, because exposure can easily turn into obsession. Information can quickly become consumption, and consumption without discernment drains your peace. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. The battle is spiritual before it is political. If you reduce everything to personalities and headlines, you will miss the deeper layer. But if you become consumed with outrage, you will also miss your assignment. The enemy would love for you to scroll endlessly, argue endlessly, and spiral endlessly. Fear is contagious. Outrage is addictive. But neither produces righteousness. Jesus said, "Do not let your hearts be troubled." Notice he didn't say there would be no troubling events. He acknowledged chaos would exist, but he instructed his followers not to let their hearts be ruled by it. That is spiritual authority. That is emotional discipline anchored in faith. There is a difference between being informed and being internally shaken. Being informed means you are aware but steady. Being shaken means your peace disappears with every headline. And peace is not denial. Peace is power under control. Jesus slept in the middle of a storm. The storm was real. The waves were real. The danger was real. But his identity was stronger than the environment. And that is the posture believers must recover right now. When darkness is revealed, many assume darkness is winning. But exposure is rarely a sign of victory for evil. It is often a sign of exposure by light. John 1-5 says, The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Darkness does not overcome light. Darkness is simply the absence of it. The moment light enters, darkness has to retreat. And sometimes the retreat looks messy. Sometimes it looks chaotic. But it is still movement. Do not let repeated exposure harden your heart. Cynicism is not discernment. Hopelessness is not wisdom. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If constant news consumption is stripping those from you, you are taking in more than your spirit was designed to carry. Guard your intake. Protect your inner climate. You cannot fight spiritual battles effectively if you are emotionally depleted. Instead of reacting with fear, shift into intercession. Pray for victims. Pray for justice. Pray for truth to continue surfacing. Pray for wisdom among leaders. Pray for protection over the innocent. When believers pray, they participate in heaven's response rather than amplifying earth's panic. Your role is not to carry the weight of the world. Your role is to remain anchored in the one who already carries it. It is easy to feel small in moments like this. Easy to think, what difference does my peace make? But your stability is a witness. When the world spirals and you remain steady, people notice. When chaos increases and you remain calm, it communicates confidence in something higher than systems. The early church lived under corrupt governments and violent opposition, yet Scripture says they were filled with joy. Their confidence was not in institutions. It was in sovereignty. And that is the word for this season. Sovereignty. God has not stepped off his throne. Exposure does not surprise him. Corruption does not intimidate him. Revelation does not threaten him. What feels shocking to us has always been visible to him. If he is allowing things to surface now, it is because timing matters. And God's timing is rarely comfortable, but it is always purposeful. Do not interpret shaking as abandonment. Do not interpret exposure as defeat. And do not let headlines dictate your spiritual temperature. Stay grounded in Scripture. Stay anchored in prayer. Stay disciplined in your emotions. Because your peace is not weakness. It is strength. Your joy is not ignorance. It is confidence. And your refusal to panic is a declaration that your trust is not in fragile systems, but in an unshakable kingdom. The exposure of darkness is not proof that evil is omnipotent. It is often proof that evil is being confronted. And confrontation always looks intense before it looks resolved. So instead of asking, "How could this happen?" begin asking, "Lord, how do you want me to stand in this season?" Because posture matters. If you mirror outrage, you multiply chaos. If you mirror fear, you multiply anxiety. But if you carry peace, you introduce heaven into instability. Let this season deepen your prayer life rather than drain your hope. Let it sharpen your discernment rather than steal your joy. Let it remind you that truth cannot remain buried forever. And above all, remember this: the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Not then, not now, not ever. Stay awake, stay discerning, stay peaceful. God is still on the throne.